everybody. So in our last video, we ballasted our two HO loops and our single N scale loop. And all of that glue is dried, and we're pretty satisfied with the job that we did. It looks pretty good. Now, as we mentioned during that video, one of the problems that we had was glue running out from where we dropped it into the ballast out into this area here. And you can see these areas that look like kind of like water staining. So we don't want that to stay because it just looks kind of messy. I'm not really even sure why we got that much runoff. Our glue was a 1-to-1 mixture of water and white glue, similar to I think what other people use on YouTube. The drop sizes we were using seemed to be consistent with what people were using. So I don't know if anybody else has run into this problem, or maybe it's a grass mat thing. You know, the grass mat is, I think, has a vinyl backing to it, and water, you know, it won't absorb water. It'll pool it, and so maybe it just kind of spilled out because it had nowhere else to go. Whatever was going on there, we have to fix it. So in this video, what we're going to do is create another 1-to-1 glue mixture. I don't think we need the soap suds in it or the soap dish soap in it, because we don't need a surfactant in that mixture to kind of penetrate the stone. We're just going to be gluing the surface here of the grass mat and then spreading some turf on that just to kind of ease this kind of discoloration here and make it look a little bit more organic. So that's going to be today's project. We're going to take care of all of these water stains on all three loops. So we're not going to show you the glue mixture because it's the same one we use for ballasting. Again, 1 part water to 1 part white glue. And then we're simply just going to brush it on, and we're going to sprinkle some turf on there. So let's get to work. Okay, so in order to deal with this kind of glue runoff here that we experienced after ballasting, what we're going to do here is we're going to take our 1-to-1 glue mixture. Same glue mixture we use with the ballast. It's totally fine to use that. It's nice and thin, and we'll take our brush and we'll spread the glue over all of these water stains here. And then we're going to take our turf, and what we're using here is this, I just cut the label off the bag just because we're keeping the turf in this old takeout restaurant takeout container here. But we're using this blended turf. This is Woodland Scenics blended turf earth blend, and the number is T50, you know, if that's if you wanted to know exactly the shade, I guess, of the turf. But anyway, let's start doing a section, and then we're just gonna work our way around the track. So first thing we want to do is, again, take our glue mixture, and we're gonna spread it on a section here. And again, you want to cover all of the water, you know, I'm calling it water staining, but what I mean, because it looks like that, what I mean is the glue runoff here. And we'll probably create a little bit more glue runoff doing this, but as long as we get the turf over all of the wet glue, then everything will get covered. So I did quite a big patch here. And then what you want to do is take your turf, just pinch it between your fingers. You could use a spreader for this too. I hold it, I feel like I get better coverage if I sprinkle it from high up. And just go ahead and just drop it in the glue. If you go a little heavy-handed, it's fine. You can just kind of vacuum the rest away later. You'll probably want to touch up a lot of this afterwards anyway. It won't be perfect, I don't think, the first time you drop it. Drop it in. Now, I was going to say not to worry about the glue because it dries clear, but if the glue really dried clear here and didn't leave us any staining, we wouldn't have had to do this in the first place. So I'm not going to say it's going to dry clear, but as long as the glue is covered, you won't see it. And then what you can do, if you feel you have to, is you can take this here, this dry brush, and you can just kind of smooth it out if you want to. Just try to avoid rolling the material in the glue, because then it'll start rolling in the glue and kind of get balled up. But you know, if you want to gently spread it around, just to even it out, you can do that. But, you know, that's basically it. We'll just do one more little piece here, and then we'll continue around. Let's get this side done. This is also a good opportunity, by the way, to also check out your ballast job. As we've been making our way around here, we've had a couple of instances where we saw some of the ballast was a little thin, and so we just took that opportunity to go ahead and fill those spots in. So again, just lay down that glue, and then from high up, like I said, dropping the turf from up high seems to give it a little bit better dispersal, a little bit more even coverage, I guess. You'll probably use a lot of this stuff. We bought enough, I think, to do all three loops. You can, once you get your cadence going, you can actually work pretty quick. So, yeah, there it is right there. Now, one of the things we did, if Evan wants to just move the camera up, you can see the three rails right there where the rails are kind of close together. We actually, you know, just filled in the spaces between the rails. And then they kind of end abruptly right here. We'll kind of taper those in so that it looks like a more natural kind of wearing of the turf, you know, between the rails. And then the last thing we'll do, and we'll show this step too, is that we also have some more coarse type of foliage that we'll also put on top of here in spots. It's a green, it's a little bit more tufted. It looks like more like low brush than it does this kind of dried turf here. And so once we're done with this with all three rails, all three loops, we'll go through and we'll add that touch there. And that just adds a little bit more texture to the whole thing. It adds a little bit more, makes it look a little bit more organic. So yeah, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take this technique, we're gonna continue and finish up our loops, and then we will we'll check in then. Okay, so we just got finished adding the earth-colored turf to either side of the tracks just outside the ballast. So you can see it like right here, just off to the side of the ballast. So hopefully it looks a little natural, where you might go from the hard rock of the ballast to this kind of worn turf to either side, and then it transitions off to the spring grass color of the grass mat. So that's all done. It's been done all the way around the track here, all 3 tracks. But we're not quite done yet. The other thing, one last thing that we want to do is we want to add a little bit more texture to, kind of to that landscape, if you will. So we're going to add a little bit of more coarse turf, which is more of a green color. And we're not going to actually fill it all in like we did with this brown turf. We're actually going to just put it sparingly around, so that it just emulates, some scrub that might be growing up or might have been left over or something like that on the track, and just to kind of add another little kind of organic element to this. So let's go ahead and go about how we're going to do that. Okay, so what we're going to use to add some more texture is this Woodland Scenics coarse turf. And this is burnt grass is the style. And as you can see here, it's very fluffy. And so it has a completely different texture than that turf that we just put down. So the good thing about this is if there's any part of the job here that you're not satisfied with, that didn't maybe come out quite the way you thought it would or whatever, you can just cover it up. And so the idea here is that this is going to be completely random. Remember, this is kind of growing organically, so there's no real pattern here. I think this is kind of more art than science, and so just use the artist in you and just kind of put it where you think it looks good. I don't think it can look bad, because again, in real life, this would be just kind of an organically growing stuff that would be growing between the rails and things like that. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to use our eyedropper instead of our brush, because we're just really going to kind of slot place this. So we're going to use an eyedropper as opposed to a brush, because we just want to put little blobs of glue where we want to put our turf here, and then we're just going to plop it down into the glue. Now you don't want to push this down or anything like that. You really kind of want this texture to be kind of stand out or have nice contrast compared to the stuff that's lying flat. So anyway, super easy. Again, just place it where you think you need it. So for example, I'm just going to go ahead, I'll just load up my dropper here, and maybe I'll just put some right here. Again, not putting a lot down, just hold it here and just kind of sprinkle it in. And that's really all there is to it. So we'll do another little spot here. Again, one of the reasons that we did the brown turf in the first place was because we were trying to cover up some glue run out from the glue that we did the ballasting. So this is kind of like an ever expanding problem. But if for some reason we felt like we didn't get good coverage on our brown turf and we still see some glue, then I can pop a little bit of glue here, like maybe right here. Take some of my turf here and go ahead and plop it there. Again, there's no really right answer or wrong answer for this. This is just kind of do what you feel. And yeah, so we're just going to work our way around the track. We're going to put this stuff down, and and we'll just check in after we've done a section of track and show you what it looks like. Okay, so over on these bridge heads here, we're gonna do a little bit more thicker foliage here, just to kind of disguise these a little bit. Maybe disguise isn't the word. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a little triangle or a little wedge of our coarse turf here. So put a little down there, drop our coarse turf on the glue. Hopefully that'll all stay down. We can always give this a little spritz of glue from a fine spray bottle afterwards, just if we feel like it's too loose, because we're putting it down and I don't know if all of this is really touching the glue. Hopefully it is, but I suppose we'll find out. And then the other thing we did here when we were at the hobby shop last time, a few months ago, is we've gotten this kind of thick, this is lichen, and again, this is Woodland Scenics, and we have spring green, and we also have light green. So we got two different colors here. So we're gonna have a couple of different textures, a couple of different colors, and I think it hopefully will look pretty good. So I'm gonna take a little sprig out here. And what we'll do is we'll just add some in here. And I'm gonna try to work both colors in there. Again, good color contrasting. So I'm just gonna put a little out here and then tear off what I need. So what I thought I might do is maybe start with the darker stuff further here. And again, there's no method to this madness. This is just whatever you kind of feel is what you do. Maybe I'll try to get a little glue on top of that and see if it'll just kind of saturate through. Hold that down a little better. Maybe a little more here. And get some nice shrubbery in here. And then maybe what I'll do here is on the front of this wedge here is just cap it off with a little brighter green. So hopefully that won't look too bad. Now this, where you see the white there, that will obviously, as we've mentioned before, this white glue will dry clear. So, and then what we'll do here is just to get a little balance is we'll, on either side of this, we'll also pop a little turf down here. Again, kind of the thicker stuff. And then maybe not so many shrubs over here, maybe just one. So let's get a little pile of glue there, and we'll drop this shrub right on top. Again, let's get a little glue to soak in there and hold that down. And then once more on this side. One thing about this is that I think you want to try to make sure you do is asymmetry is kind of the name of the game here, to make it look really random and organic. So you don't want things to be nice and neat as if they were planted there on purpose. You want everything to look kind of like it just kind of overgrew there. And then maybe on this side, with our extra glue, we'll use a little brighter green. And maybe that one's standing up, because it's a little more robust. Get some additional glue in there. And if I get any extra glue, I can just kind of cap it off with some stuff there. So that's not too bad here. I might even want to come out a little bit further here with my point. All right, so we are done detailing the track with some scenery here. So just to quickly recap what we've been doing to get our track layout kind of stabilized scenery-wise so that we can start building it up with buildings and trees and things like that. As we started off by doing the ballasting, which we showed in a previous video, and then the ballasting resulted in some kind of glue runoff that we had to cover up. So we took some Woodland Scenics earth turf and we put a little layer out here, which I think would probably happen in real life. You know, you have the ballasting and then that kind of dry area, you know, just off to the side of the ballasting. And then what we did was we added some more coarse turf here, and we did that periodically, try to make it random, organic, like it just kind of grew up in you know, different places. And the other thing we did was we also ordered from Amazon. We've been experimenting with different things, but from Amazon we also ordered some of these little button shrubs here. I guess I'm just calling them button shrubs because they're really small. But here you can see a green one here, a dry one here. So we randomized those around the layout just to, again, add some kind of random organics to it. And then we also periodically used this lichen product here for kind of dense wild shrubs, and we have that in two colors. We have it in the green, and then we have it in a more drier look here. So yeah, so I think at this point here we are at a place where we can now just kind of concentrate on some of the other scenery, and we can also, now that our track situation is kind of settled here with the scenery and all that, we can start getting into some more reviews. And we have an N-scale Toby coming up to review, so that'll be fun. And we have some other Thomas stuff from our collection that we haven't reviewed yet, so we want to get to that. But we were kind of waiting for our track situation to be settled here, and now I think it is. I mean, we'll be adding different things to it over time, but I think right here we're at a good spot. But yeah, so that is pretty much what we have done. Our next project is going to be using a static grass applicator. So we've been seeing those pop up on our YouTube suggestions since we've been looking up different ways to do scenery and so forth. So at first we weren't going to consider doing that because it was an added expense and all that, but then I just couldn't get it out of my mind, so I ordered one, and in the next video we're going to try that for the first time and see if we can get that to work. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise, we're going to run a couple trains here and just enjoy our track scenery for a while. Okay, so just to give you a quick rundown on the products we use for our track detailing. It seemed like we used a lot of different stuff, but for the scenery, we only used these 7 products here. So basically, we started off with ballasting, of course, which is the medium ballast blend. That's a gray blend there. And then we used the blended turf. That's the brown turf that we put on the, out on the either side of the ballast to kind of transition to the grass mat, which worked with some effect. We're pretty happy with it. But yeah, the blending or the kind of feathering into that color could have been a little bit better. And then we use the coarse turf here, the burnt grass, for the little patches of shrub and overgrowth that we put on top of that earth turf there. And then for the larger shrubs, we used this lichen product here. And that first one, in case you can't read it, is light green. And then the second one is spring green. And then again, those little grass, kind of little buttony type of grass stuff here is this kind of dried grass here. We just ordered this off of Amazon. I don't even know the name of the product. It was pretty easy to find. But these come on like these little rolls here, almost like that ribbon candy. You just peel it off and maybe glue the bottom of it and put it where you want to. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of show you that we didn't really. It seemed like it was a long process because it took 3 updates to kind of complete. But yeah, we just took it a layer at a time, and it worked out fine, and we just used these products here. As you can see, the ballast, these cans of ballast, these plastic bottles of ballast, they were about $14 or $15 at our hobby store. You could probably get them cheaper elsewhere, but we like to go to our local places and support our local businesses, so we buy our supplies there when we can, even though it might be a little bit cheaper on Amazon. But then we paid $13 each for the turf type of items there, and then back up to $15 for the lichen. And as you can see, the coarse turf is really what we use the most of. Well, that's not true. That's actually our second bottle of ballast. So that's a little bit misleading. We used the whole bottle and then that. But that should be expected for the amount of ballast you use going around 3 loops of track. But as far as the scenery goes, really we probably used more of the coarse turf than anything else. But it's fluffier, so you're going to go through it quicker. It's not as densely packed as the other turf. So anyway, again, just a quick idea of what we bought for scenery to kind of detail our track here after laying it down. And just for fun here, we thought we'd get Duck, Skarloey, and Spencer out here on the track here and test out our work and make sure our track still works after all of the things that we've added to it. And things seem to be running fine.